Sue Lowden, thanks for coming back on the program.
It's nice to be here live.
Live, indeed you are. We've been interviewing all the candidates, and suddenly, after a few months ago, you were a shoo-in, you're way ahead in the race. Suddenly we have all this stuff about chickens, and we have all this stuff about the bus, and you provide like 10 different explanations on the bus, and suddenly you're just falling fast. People are starting to worry in Washington about whether really this is the face that can launch the campaign against Harry Reid. Are you in big trouble?
Well, it's nothing that we didn't prepare for. We always knew that this is going to be a competitive race. And we acted as the underdog from day one. We acted as the underdog. We were never complacent. And I always campaigned as though I was the underdog. So we knew that the polls were going to tighten. We weren't sure who was going to be where. But, you know, polls are a reflection in time, reflection at that moment. And when you have hundreds of thousands of dollars in negative campaigning from outside interest groups coming into Nevada, targeting me by Harry Reid, we knew it was going to be tightened.
Well, here's what happened. You had all the ammunition, and you gave it to them. You said, here, I'm going to do these crazy kinds of things, not get rid of this bartering issue, say all this stuff about the bus, which I don't think is as big an issue. But here we go. People are now saying, is Sue Lowden able to win a general election? You're a thoroughly damaged candidate, even if you hang on.
Well, I love the way you go on and on with your question, but the truth is when I go out and talk to people, when I'm at forums or at town hall meetings or wherever I am, people care about jobs. They care about the economy. No one's talking about chickens, frankly, except for Harry Reid and the hundreds of thousands of dollars he's dumped into this campaign
I'm not talking about chickens. I'm not talking
about chickens. Well, yes, you are talking about chickens right now.
I'm talking about Sue Lowden's viability as a candidate.
No, I'm telling you, this is what people care about. Ready? I have a prop.
Okay.
They care about this.
And of course, you brought the Review Journal in.
Well, and Harry Reid doesn't want to talk about this.
Well, we're going to talk about jobs a little later.
Yes, he can't defend his record on jobs, and so he wants to change the subject on his health care plan. He wants to change the subject on jobs. He wants to talk about chickens, and nobody else is talking about chickens.
You are not allowed to run against Harry Reid until you get out of the primary.
Well, but this is what people do talk about. They absolutely talk about this.
And that is a more important issue than anything about chickens.
They're very worried about their future. They're worried about their children's future.
Let's talk about the difference between you and Sharon Angle, because now you're attacking her on television. Clearly, you think she's a threat. Now, I want to quote a big Sue Lowden supporter, Keith Olbermann of MSNBC, who was talking about the chicken fiasco the other night. Here's what he said. Reid's campaign has mercilessly exploited it, which we can all agree on, to such a degree that Lowden might now lose to the Tea Party candidate, referring to Sharon Angle, who might be easier for Reid to beat in the general election. Look what you've done.
Well, I haven't done that. Again, the whole chicken thing is a Harry Reid trying to change the subject from his health care plan that is so very unpopular.
Let's talk about Sharon Angle then. Let's talk about Sharon Angle. What's the difference between Sue Lowden and Sharon Angle?
Well, you know, she has said repeatedly, read my record, not my lips, you know, over and over again. So people started looking into her record, and she was voted the worst legislator when she was in the assembly.
That's the liberal media and the liberal legislators.
Well, no, I think you voted. I think you were one of the ones who voted. The people there voted.
I didn't vote.
And she was voted the worst one 4 times. If not the worst one, then she was the runner-up. She voted for her own pay increases, not 2 times, like you said, but 3 times. We actually found a 3rd time she voted for her pay increase.
You know what legislators make? What's wrong with that?
Well, you know what? That's up for the people to decide. We're a citizen legislature, and people, it's public service. It's public service. You know, George Washington didn't take a dime when he was president. George Washington didn't have a government horse when he went into battle.
You're going back to the olden days again.
I'm talking
We're not living in the times of bartering or George Washington. We're living in the real world here.
And if she wants to raise her own salary, which apparently she did after she was voted the worst legislator, she did such a great job, then she wanted to raise her own salary. And then, of course, we all know about the massages for prisoners, the Scientology bill that she had drawn up and that she supports on your program. She supported it, said it was working in New Mexico. It's not working anywhere in this country. Not only did she bring it up in the state legislature, but then she went and she lobbied Congressman Jim Gibbons, Senator John Ensign for federal funding for the prisoners.
You think she's too extreme?
I think that people need to realize who she is, and they need to make up their own minds what she is. And no one has been talking about her. She's been the silent candidate. So, you know, she said, don't read my lips, read my record. So guess what? We went and looked at her record, and you know what else she did? She gutted the right to work bill. Here we are, a right to work state. She, as a Republican, gutted the right to work bill here in Nevada so that everybody here would have to join a union. So maybe she'll get some union support before this is all over.
Wow, you really have researched a record. I'm not so sure about that one, but we're going to talk more to Sue Lowden about Sharon Angle, about jobs, about a whole host of other things when Face to Face returns. Lowden to talk about her campaign. As we mentioned, it's between you and Sharon Angle now. A lot of people think that. The Club for Growth, which is this anti-tax group that helped Sharon Angle almost win a congressional seat a few cycles back, is now back. Trying to help them. They're back, and they're running an ad, and they are talking about you, Sue Lowden. Let's listen.
Okay.
Sue Lowden's attacking Sharon Angle? You gotta be kidding. Sharon Angle's Nevada's leading fiscal conservative, a common sense fighter, always working to cut taxes for Nevada families and reduce government spending. And Sue Lowden? She voted to raise taxes, supported huge spending increases, and backed Harry Reid for years. Sharon Angle, the best choice for Nevada Republicans.
Seems like a pretty simple choice. Sharon Angle's the fiscal conservative. You voted for some tax increases and for some spending bills. You're not going to deny that, are you?
I'm going to say that the Club for Growth didn't look at her record and her entire record. She admitted to you that she voted for tax increases and pork. She admitted to you on the program.
And appropriations bills,
yes.
which
yes.
you voted for too, did you not?
Yes. Once I was
so what's
chairman.
The difference?
Well, that's what you would have to ask the Club for Growth. They're the same group, the out-of-state group that came in after Congressman Dean Heller, spent $1 million against him. And I think that they look back and they have now embraced Congressman Heller. I think that they'll do the same with me. They've had a relationship with Sharon Angle because she's been on the ballot, I don't know, 7 or 8 times now, and they're used to her. They perhaps haven't explored her record like I have, because of her insisting that we not read her lips, read her record. So I have.
Reading your record. You voted for some tax increases and for some spending bills while you were supposedly the great chairwoman of the non-taxation committee. You voted for those bills
Well,
too.
Once I was chairman of the taxation committee, I halted all of that. And once I signed the tax pledge, I halted all that. But clearly, Sharon Angle.
Fee increases. Even NPRI says so.
Before I was chairman of taxation.
So suddenly you got religion when you became chairman?
I absolutely did. I saw that how harmful the taxes were, fees, assessments, whatever you want to call them. Carol Villardo, the head of the Taxpayers Association, said it was the best session ever for taxpayers when I was the chairman of taxation. So I shut down taxes. I shut down increases. I voted against pork, by the way. I have that record. And I will admit, at that first session, I voted for a couple of increases. We had to balance the budget. That's what we do here in Nevada, as opposed to the federal government, which hasn't balanced the budget since I don't know when. But that's what we did.
By raising taxes and
well,
voting for
we
budgets.
Voted, and guess what I voted for? My own tax on my own slot machines. That was one of the taxes, and that was pretty much unanimous in the industry, those kinds of things.
Let's talk about the last part of that real quickly. Last part of that, talking about these contributions that you made to Harry Reid a long time ago. You've now put up on your website, you have a blog post in which you talk about all these Republicans you contributed to throughout the years. There's a long list. I'm just going to read some of them so people know. Ron Paragary's now in the Supreme Court, 500. Lorraine Hunt, the former lieutenant governor, 1,000. Maurice Washington, state senator, 500. Brian Sandoval, 1,000. It says Mark Jones. I think it's Mark James, 1,000. Lorraine Hunt, 250. Clark County Republican Party, Lorraine Hunt again, and Lynette Boggs McDonald. It goes on and on. But here's what you don't have there. You also supported Jim Bilbray, the Democratic congressman, many cycles up until he ran against John Ensign. And in one of the most contentious Senate races in the country in 1988, Chick Hackton, Dick Bryan, the Democrat Dick Bryan, you gave to Dick Bryan.
I didn't give to Dick Bryan.
Yes,
my husband did.
No, you did. I checked this.
I'd have to check that.
I'm telling you, I checked it.
Okay.
So how do you explain that?
Well, I would say that, we're one of those states that votes for the individual and that we look at the person up close and personal. And I'm counting on that once I'm in the general for those who are independents and libertarians and those who are Democrats to not look at the parties, but to look at the individual and look at the issues.
So you'd be okay if Republicans supported Harry Reid in the general then?
Are you talking about this time around?
Yes.
Well, I think Harry Reid's been bad for the state and bad for the country.
But you did support Democrats is the only
Well,
point.
We're talking about 3 decades ago. 3 decades ago.
Right.
And I think that, people change over time.